All right, we're on part 2 talking about guitars. In our first part, we talked about acoustic guitars. And the first thing I wanted to open this episode with is pretty much everything we said about acoustic guitars is true about electric guitars too.
Yeah.
You got to humidify them correctly. You need to get them professionally set up, probably about once a year. You need to change the strings regularly.
Mm-hmm.
All that basic stuff.
Sure.
But electric guitars kind of have some interesting differences, specifically in the pickups would probably be the first area.
Yeah, so I went to guitar building school many years ago, and you're building guitars, and there's a lot more that goes into acoustic guitars than there is electric guitars. And one of my teachers said, you can build a electric guitar out of anything. You can build it out of a toolbox.
And we've seen some people build some interesting electrics.
We all laugh. We're like, okay. Yeah. But then we were at the old location.
Sure.
And hanging on the wall was an electric guitar made out of a toolbox.
I've seen a gas can.
And it sounded like an electric guitar.
Yeah. I saw a machine gun one time.
Yeah. So electric guitars are different for sure. The big thing is your hardware and your pickups.
What do you mean by hardware?
Hardware would be like your tuners, your bridge, a bone nut, things.
That stuff matters a lot
frets,
more.
Like stainless steel frets are my favorite, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And your pickups. Those kind of things, the way it's wired, that kind of stuff matters. In fact, there's not a whole lot of difference between a Mexican Strat, an American Strat, and a custom shop Strat. It's basically hardware because it's the same wood.
And who put it together?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But these days there are so many really good electric guitars for not a whole lot of money. Yep. My best friend is a very accomplished guitar player, like very accomplished, and he is so picky with guitars. I mean, very, 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 very pickiest person I know.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of guitars, but one that he just recently got rid of was like a $600 to $800 Yamaha Pacifica. Oh yeah. And he would say for years, he goes, I don't know how this thing sounds so good. It plays great. It sounds great. And it was like $600, and he's got $2,000-$3,000 electric guitars, hanging on his wall, and he's just like, man. I'm not saying it's better, but
there's something special.
There's some mojo going on here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guitar. I personally have a $1,000 Charvel.
Yeah.
It's basically a modded Strat. That's my main guitar. It was $1,000. It plays fantastic. Yeah. And there's a lot of options, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to get it.
So what I'll say about buying an electric guitar, I caution people from buying electric guitars online unless you really know what you're looking for. Like we've played guitar for a long time, so just looking at a spec sheet or like reading a review, we can evaluate a guitar pretty well. But for the most part, you're not going to really know if you like a guitar unless you play it. I mean, that just is always the way it's been. And finding a good local guitar store with a guy that you or girl that you can build a relationship with, who isn't just interested in selling the next guitar, but who's going to have honest conversations about what they have in stock and what it's going to maybe be able to do for you or not. But really it comes down to you just sitting and playing. And it's the local guitar stores that always seem to be willing to let you do that more than the more big box kind of store stuff.
So if you're sitting there and you're going, okay, that's all great, but what do I need to get I'm playing on the worship team. I'm playing electric guitar on the worship team. What do I need to get? Okay. You want the quick answer? Get a little Helix, little stomp.
Yeah, the little HX stomps.
Little HX stomps, and then pick like a $400 to $500 to $600 guitar. It could be a Squier, it could be a Strat, it could be a Charvel, it could be a Yamaha. Go down to your local store, pick something out, and those are the two things I would get, and you're set. You could do anything.
And even pickup styles like single coil versus humbucker isn't going to matter very much because the Helix or whatever version you get, there's lots of them out there. They can do all those things.
Yeah.
And I said it in the keyboard one, you can buy main stage patches already built for you.
Yeah, just buy a patch.
Helix
done.
Is the same way. In fact, if you buy the Helix, and I think you have to buy the bigger one, the full board one, but even in the HX Stomp, I think you can do it. I believe there's a free patch. There used to be for a long time. A free worship, if you Google free worship guitar Helix patch, I bet it'll come up.
I bought a $5 one that sounded like a song that I was needing to learn, and it literally sounded pretty much identical.
But the cool thing about it is they give you they give you multiple versions of the patch, and one of them will say single coils, and one of them will say humbuckers.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go find a guitar. In fact, we've both used your Helix. You've used your Charvel. I've used my PRS. They have totally different pickups in them, and it sounds great.
Yeah. So that's where, if you need a little cheat sheet, that's what I would say.